This is Indiana Hoosiers Live 25 on the Indiana channel at the Voice of College Football. We are joined by a very special guest today. This is Jamie Jordan. He writes the IU Reactionary. We're going to get into a lot of stuff, including the IU spring game, which is coming up on Thursday, but almost breaking news, maybe not at this point because it's been a little bit, but Indiana basketball added the commit of Lamar Wilkerson. They were head up with Kentucky in a pretty heated battle. It got heated, obviously, online between Indiana fans and Kentucky fans. So, Jamie, I'll go to you first. Lamar Wilkerson, Hoosier, how does it make you feel?
It's a huge win for Darren DeVries. It was something I felt like he almost needed to win, and he did. Reports are that he went out and saw him today, kind of closed the deal. There was all that smoke on Twitter, on message boards that Kentucky is putting out there, and turned out whatever. IU slammed it, it's done. So huge pickup by IU at a position of need. 6'5" shooting guard that shoots 45% from three. Add that to DeVries, add that to the other guys that they've already added. I mean, it's a huge addition.
Brad?
I mean, I'm just thinking about DeVries, Bailey, and Wilkerson on the floor at the same time. These are guys that averaged 18 plus points a game, all of them at a certain point in college. I mean, these guys can just fill it up. It's going to create a lot of options for, other guys on the team. You think Luke Goody getting more open looks because they just have so much to entertain offensively. Given DeVries, implements a good scheme, which I think he will, and they play really good team defense, this team looks a lot better than I think people are going to give him credit for going into the year. I'm looking at Marlon Mack, or who's the Mack kid from Georgetown, the transfer. I remember when he came. Apparently, he's a target, a guy in the portal that Indiana's after, and I remember he came to Indiana when he was at Harvard, and he filled it up. He was clearly the best player on the floor. That wasn't Khalil Ware, and he put on a show. I think he dropped 20 plus as a true freshman in Assembly Hall. That's a guy that if Indiana is targeting and pairs with this group, lots and lots of scoring. It's just going to really come down to how invested are they on the defensive end of the floor, which has been a big issue for the team for a long time. So we'll see. I'm excited though.
Yeah, it's massive. Lamar Wilkerson, as a player, as a piece to add to your basketball team, is huge. There's a reason why. I mean, he had visits scheduled to Auburn. He had visits scheduled to Ole Miss that he canceled. Kentucky was in on him like that. Again, very talented player. But then you look at the grand scope of things and what a lot of people were, I'll call it panicking about DeVries and his roster building, when we've been saying over and over again, like, wait for that April 18th date. Like, that's the date where it really seems like it starts picking up. And to go out head up against a team that was it a Sweet 16 team? Were they an Elite 8 team? I already forget the tournament. But
Sweet 16.
Like,
they did get killed by Tennessee though. So I mean,
but that's a team that on paper is it's a lot closer to quote unquote where like a team's goal would be than where Indiana is. And so to be able to go head to head with a blue blood, when people say you aren't a blue blood, when people are questioning your ability to recruit, and grab a guy who people said would be a steal for Indiana, is a massive, massive get for DeVries. And it allows the rest of the roster now to take shape. Like, they don't really have to worry about starting scoring anymore. Like, that's all of that is taken care of. So then the focus kind of switches to the rest of the roster. But to go head up against Kentucky and to beat Kentucky in the way they did it, very, very impressive stuff early on in the Darren DeVries era.
When's, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, when's the last time that happened? I mean, because people go back and they, what's the kid from Indianapolis that its name is eluding me right now, but he chose Kentucky, and people always thought he might transfer back, but it's like IU doesn't do this, and they haven't done it in a while. So it's a statement, and it's a big statement in my opinion. So very excited, regardless of like people. I saw people being like, "Oh, well, they gave him the bag, and that's why." It's like, maybe, but that's why IU has the bag, like to give these kids that they want, the chance to play at IU. It takes that. So
costs 10 mil plus to go to win a championship these days. What it looks like, just based on what we saw at Florida this year. All the teams in the Final Four were just a step above everyone else, and whether that's NIL or building good foundation where guys, continuity over time, and they just finally have the team that makes it all the way. I'm liking the Indiana starting point. I just really am. It seems like they're being very. We're just hearing things, obviously, but we're hearing that Indiana's, not, teams are out of money. Indiana seems to still be going after guys. It just seems like there's just really good sign in terms of how DeVries is doing things, being very selective, and still getting 3 guys that have averaged 18 plus points per game at the D1 level. And we're talking A10, obviously Missouri Valley, and then now whatever conference Sam Houston State plays in. But I feel like as a basketball head, you just know how hard it is to score 18 a game, period, regardless of level. Obviously, they're going to take a step up and there might be a drop in those numbers, but clearly these guys can score and will be threats to score, which I don't know was the case with the team last year with everyone on the floor being that threat to score the basketball.
Well, I'll tell you exactly. It wasn't the case last year because we love Anthony Leal. We'll never say a bad word about Anthony Leal, but 100%. One thing Leal never looked to do was score the basketball, especially late in his career.
Hard to win games that way. Just is. It's just easier to defend. Just simple playing. You got to guard 4 guys instead of 5. It's math.
But 2 weeks ago, people were complaining that the Indiana roster was non-existent, and now you look at the starting 5 Indiana can potentially put out on the floor next year, and they stack. And again, as a team that literally 12, 13 months ago got bit in the ass by portal rankings, it feels silly to bring those up again. But then you look up, and where is Indiana ranked in terms of their portal haul? I think they're 4 or 5.
They're going to end up being that high just because they're going to bring in 10 guys probably through the
portal. I was thinking about that too.
So regardless of what they do, they're going to be high on those portal rankings. I'm not going to let expectations get too high. I'm just expecting a tournament appearance. That's all I want to see year one, and just see if we can get there. And if we don't get there year one, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to throw a tantrum. I'm going to see what the year 2 jump looks like, and then I'm going to evaluate what my coach is doing, basically, because that's how I feel like normal people should react to a situation like this.
I agree, but I also think that one of the things people were reacting to guys being offered or talking to IU or whatever, and it's they have to fill the roster. Not everyone is a starter. I couldn't figure it. Why are you complaining about some random 7-foot junior college kid? I don't know. He had averaged 3 blocks a game, or I can't remember what his name is.
Might be good.
You have to fill out the roster, and you don't want to be going portal hunting every single year. So, I think they have. People need to not freak out and just let them do it. And this is for me. This is the culmination of that. It's okay, he added some of the pieces. You add the star guy that you can build around, and then now you can go out from there. But it was the fear and panic in the fan base is whoa. I get it. I guess. Yeah. Because I was kind of like that too a little bit, but I was also this is what happens. This is how it works.
I like those JUCO guys. A lot of talent comes out of the JUCO. Duncan Robinson comes to mind. Obviously, you talk about Dennis Rodman, one of the best rebounders of all time, came straight from JUCO to the NBA. But regardless, obviously that's not a relevant point.
Duncan Robinson to Dennis Rodman was not.
I'm just talking JUCO guys. We're talking JUCO. If we're attacking these types of guys and they're top guys putting up big numbers at that level, and we can get 3 years of eligibility out of them, I see that as a no-brainer. They're clearly are able to play at the college level, maybe not start at the D1 level, but they can definitely play at the Division I level if they're dominating that league. That's just how this stuff goes. The best players end up playing in the best leagues.
And the roster building, Jamie, to your point, super important. You can't spend $5 to $8 million on every single player. You run out of money very quickly. There's nowhere to go. There's a roster building philosophy in baseball where you spend a bunch of your money in one place and then you supplement the roster in different ways. And I'm not saying that's what Indiana is doing, but you can't have 5 stars throughout the entire bench. Somebody's going to get on. You have to build a team. And I think that is, while a lot of people are upset that it's taking a little while, that the patience is actually a really good thing. And you need to be careful in how you put this together and bring in guys, because you have to literally bring in 10 guys.
Well, and that's the talking point, the building a team. And it's yes, I hate that talking point, but it's true. You cannot have, we just watched last year and the year before where they had a bunch of guys that were as they're by themselves were good players, but as a collective, no one knew what they were doing. They were who was deferring to who was the alpha, who was not the alpha. I mean, we have no idea. I mean, I
still couldn't tell you.
Right. So I mean, I just I hate that talking point, but it is apt here, and I think that like it's exciting to see a coach that has a vision, that understands how to win in multiple ways. And one of the things, we're not really getting into this, I don't think, that deeply, but like if you look back at his metrics, like his defensive metrics last year were off the charts. Why? Because two of his better players got injured, including his son, who was shooting like 50% from three when he got injured. So it's like he decided, okay, we need to hunker down, and I can win this way with these guys. I mean, to me, that is a sign of a guy who actually is learning on the job. He's like figuring out, hey, this is what works for my guys. That's how you build a team. And if things go wrong, you have a second way you can actually do things that is not going to like end your season. I mean, West Virginia should have been in the tournament last year. So
100%.
Anyway. Yeah.
Brad's got a conspiracy about that though.
Yeah. Did you hear about the conspiracy I had? You hear about it? So I think Scott Dolson called in a favor to Bubba Cunningham. Hey, I want West Virginia's head coach leave
I did hear
West
you say
Virginia
this.
and Indiana out so you can have UNC in, and I'll be able to hire their head coach. We get a head start on the portal. He can start evaluating, get acclimated, move in, yada yada, start building the team.
I mean, I think it's actually the truth.
Like that team was bad. Like if I'm Scott Dolson, I'm looking at that team. Like I don't want to see them in the play-in game and lose by 20. I don't want to see that.
That actually makes it.
And I don't want to like shit on them, but like that's what I was expecting if they did make it, to be honest. And
well, I like
obviously I was riding. We were on a good wave, but I think we faced that like who did if we played San Diego State, I don't know if it's the same result as what UNC did to them. San Diego State's a very well coached team, and they just play as a unit. And I don't know if we can match that intensity, like which is what we struggled with a lot. We just weren't a tournament team. Intensity wise, maybe not toward the end of the year, but for the most part. But yeah, that's my theory. That's it.
I know. I like your theory. I actually think it's not true, but
crazy.
It could easily. Yeah, it's not as crazy like the way if you lay it out. Like it's actually not that crazy. I mean, he got a ton of crap from everybody.
Yeah,
rightly so. Because I mean, I guess what it is you just play a bunch of teams that are bad and you just blow them out, and then you just kind of show up against good teams. That was basically North Carolina's like. That's what they did to get into the tournament. It's like, is that really how you're gaming the system? I guess that's what you do. I don't know. Maybe.
Their only quad one win was a UCLA game, which I watch. I watch every UCLA men's basketball game. The UCLA choked that game away at the free throw line. That's what happened. North Carolina did not win that game by any means.
Well,
that's their only quad one win.
They didn't have Mara, I don't believe, in that game either. Who was
Mara was in foul trouble. He has conditioning issues, and sure, Michigan poached him, but. I mean, you go. That's your issue now.
Yeah,
like I don't know if he can play 25 minutes a game. Like he's a great player. I don't know if he can play 25 minutes.
Yeah,
that's his issue.
Yeah,
that's what's so good about Zach Edey. But I digress.
I was gonna say.
Well, when you get every call, I'll get killed. I don't want to say. Yeah.
I was gonna say. The reason we brought JB on today was to talk Indiana football. So I don't want to spend 100%. too much time on Indiana basketball, but.
I like the hoops, though.
No. I was going to say the roster is coming together. That being said, there are still some holes potentially even in the starting roster. So going forward, now building off of this momentum, obviously positionally, we'd like to see them grab a rim protecting center. But are there any guys you guys kind of have your eyes on?
I already mentioned Mac from Georgetown.
Yeah.
So maybe
and just to there's a relationship there. With the Kenny Johnson, I think that's his name, the new assistant that they hired. So that is, I mean, he's legit. So if they could somehow pull him and have him and Enright as the point guards, I mean, that would be
a dream.
It would be unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, go ahead. I had to get that in there.
Who, me?
You, Brad.
Oh yeah. I thought you were going to say someone else.
Man, I would love. I've said before, I want Don McClain's kid, who was committed to West Virginia when DeVries took the job. I think that'd just be a good get. But yeah, rim protecting center, clearly need a starting point guard. I think it'd be awesome for Enright to give you like 15, 20 off the bench, kind of as a hey, let's cool it down a little bit type guy. Like let's get back to basics here. Like calm everything, put everything back into perspective. Even if we're up 20 or down 20, like you kind of just want that to kind of come in. But yeah, I would like, guards and bigs. Like I said before, like how these other Final Four teams were constructed. Like I just want guards and bigs. I don't need any tweeners. We don't need to mess with any of that. Just give me strictly guys that play either 4-5s or they're 1, 2, 3 at the college level. The small forward.
Well, I mean, those are the only positions you can get.
I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like the 6-7 small, like they're a dying breed. AJ Storr had a really tough year this past year. He's one of those tweener guys. Like at the college game, it's just really, unless you're committed to, if you're between a 3 and a 4, I just don't want any. I don't want any Mbakos. Is basically what I'm like running around the whole point. Like I don't want any Mbako types. Is kind of what I'm saying here.
I agree. I mean, they clearly need. They need to add. I mean, I think that they will, but they need rim running bigs and guys that will block shots. They don't need Umar Ballo on the block. They need a Adai Mara, to be totally honest. They need a guy that guys that can do multiple things, that can, space the floor a little bit, but more pick and roll, pick and pop, and then block shots on the defensive end. I mean, that's really what you want in a center. And we have
Reed Bailey. We're good at the scoring big. We're good there.